Rundown, Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Check out therundownlive.com. Mike P. Kriston H. The Rundown, Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Check out therundownlive.com.
What up, guys? We are live here. It is Friday, October 17th, live here on the Rundown Live, rundownlive.com. Mike Pachesney, Kriston Harris. Hey, we have a guest tonight. Prince EA is going to be joining us. We're lucky enough to hear that intro. He has made a string of really awesome videos lately. I saw this video from a guy out of Ferguson that seemed to be really controversial. We even put it up on the site. It was called What No One Wants to Say, or something like what nobody wanted to say about Ferguson, basically. And I knew as soon as I saw this guy talking, like, man, this guy is something different.
He's well spoken, that's for sure. I mean, this guy puts together words in a way that they flow, and it's touching. He's poetic, and I think that a lot of times when people hear things and talents, that's one of the ones out there that we talk about all the time. Use your talents to spread the message of freedom or liberty or whatever it might be.
I mean, it's not fake, and that's what I love. That's the kind of stuff we need to support. So Prince EA is going to be joining us here in a few minutes. That's going to be an awesome talk. We're going to get into a bunch of stuff with him, but we should probably get over the site, Kriston, first.
Sure. If you guys haven't had a chance to yet, make sure you guys run on down to therundownlive.com. There where you're going to have a plethora of information every day. We have new news articles up there. We have, different cool things for you guys to check out, links and all sorts of neat stuff, videos, abundance of information, guys. So make sure you guys head on down to therundownlive.com. Share articles on your Facebook, your Ello, your Twitter, all the new social media networks. They're out there. We have the ability to share them from our site, so do that. Also, add us on Facebook and Twitter. You can do so by typing in The Rundown Live in your search bar. It's that easy, guys. The internet's the way to go. Internet radio, that's what we do. It's awesome, so check it out. Also, if you'd like to support what Mike and I do here at the Rundown Live, make sure that you guys check out our Merchquake 2014 Indiegogo campaign. It's on the top right-hand corner of our website. The Merchquake 2014 is a great chance for you to get involved with the Rundown Live and spread the message of liberty. We're launching our first merch store online, and that will be guaranteed to be done because we've reached our goal of $500. We can't express how
not only did we reach it, we just like totally blew it away.
Destroyed it. And I want to tell you guys, I'm proud of each and every one of you guys out there, because Mike and I, we can't do this without you guys supporting us, without you guys funding us, without you guys sharing our articles. It's you guys that make this operation go, and it's you guys that makes this a special thing. So we really appreciate it. There's 3 days left to get inaugural Rundown Live merch. These are limited edition t-shirts, hoodies, stickers. You have the option to pick up something like stickers for $5, a t-shirt for $15, a hoodie for $35.
You'll even get a magazine.
Yeah, and they all come with Wide Awake, a magazine. That's an added perk. Because of the fact that we killed our budget, we were able to add a few extra cool things for you guys out there. So check that out. There's only 3 days left, so this weekend's it. If you got paid today, go out there, check out the Rundown Live Merchquake 2014. We're going to launch our store and have cool goodies for you to buy in the Rundown Live to support us. Also, another great way to support the Rundown Live is private internet access. Mike and I use this thing daily. Private internet access is a wonderful tool. We can check our emails, we download, we conversate, we do cool things like avoid video game bans and such. So $39.95 covers 5 computers. You and your friends can search the internet anonymously, download, conversate, avoid video game bans like Reddit and Call of Duty for those gamers out there. But Mike and I, we always preach privacy is important, and this is right up there with antivirus and anti-spyware in my book. If you want to search the internet anonymously and privately, this is the way to do it. It's the best way. They take Bitcoin, they take PayPal, they take old gift cards. Wonderful company. They've done great work with us. We've really had almost no problems with them. Their software works great, and we recommend it. So check that out, private internet access. Also, while you're at our site, make sure you click every banner. Every banner you click helps us out. If you like to listen to the Rundown Live, the best way to do so is in the chat room. You can actually chat with Mike and our guests, and that's in the rundownlive.com/live. In the chat, you'll see, dozens, if not more, of activists and people asking questions coming in and out of the chat. Also, a great way to listen to the Rundown Live is the TuneIn feed. The TuneIn feed is TuneIn Radio. It's an app you download to your cell phone, and you can listen to us live 24/7. It says the 24/7 TBN feed is 16 listeners or whatever, or 25 or 100 or whatever. That's where you guys can click and listen to us live straight from TuneIn Radio. And also, if you guys like to listen to us and you can't catch us live, the best way to catch us is on the Rundown Live app. The app is free. You can get on your cell phone, your tablet, your PC. It's available on Amazon, Windows, and the Google Play Store and iTunes Store. It's a great way to send us your show tips. So let's say you catch news happening live, whatever it might be. You can just open the Rundown Live app and hit
If you caught Ebola, send us a show tip.
Hey, we've gotten a lot of Ebola tips.
We will not tell the government.
And we've been posting them on our Facebook. If you've been sending us show tips, the odds are you may have had your post posted on our Facebook, and people are talking about it. So check that out. Also, you can call us straight from the app when we do have open and live lines. Tonight's not the case, but we do have a great guest tonight. I also have to mention we're syndicated through FPRN Radio, Daily Paul Radio, and Conspiracy Wire and Wide Awake. If you're interested in syndicating the Rundown Live on your feed or your radio station, get a hold of us at showtips@therundownlive.com. That's the same as a news feed. If you got guest suggestions, that's where it's at, showtips@therundownlive.com. So definitely check that out.
I know it's a lot of stuff, but we got to get it all out there. And we're going to be bringing on Prince EA right now. I was kind of telling you guys the story of how I found Prince. I really wasn't aware of all the music accomplishments Prince had previous to the videos. I kind of discovered him during the Ferguson incident because that's more of our expertise.
Well, we're journalists, right? I mean, I worked in the music industry for about 10 years, but I did punk rock, I did Vans Warped Tour, things like that. I wasn't really, I mean, we had Atmosphere and some of this intellectual hip-hop groups, but to be honest, I've been out of music since I've been in journalism. Nothing's been more important than spreading the message of liberty or freedom and waking up people to what's going on in the world, because everyone lives in this, false reality. It's almost like a matrix where they just walk around, they stare at their iPhone or their iPad, and you don't get any communication. Try to hang out with your friends. They hope that I think that some people actually hope that their plans cancel so they can sit and watch Netflix all day. There's no interaction with anyone.
It's all very interesting. Fake. I did want to say that we do have Prince EA on with us. It's good to have you, bro.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, how's it going?
Oh, good to be here, man. Very well. How are you guys?
As good as we can be. We talk about a lot of the problems a lot of the time on this show, whether it's the police state or the military industrial complex. But then we get a guy like you to come on and really shine a light on some of the positivity. Although you kind of show people a negative aspect as well, you always turn it into a positive light, and that's why we had to get you on the show, man.
Definitely. Well, thank you guys for having me, man. I'm honored to be here.
Hey, it's our pleasure. So, I was talking to you before we had you, and briefly before the show, you've had this awesome music career. You're a younger guy. You've, won competitions. You're a master of words, at least in my opinion. When I heard these videos,
as we would call it.
Right. I just knew right away, this guy was something different. And it led me to your music, which I'm sure you've seen a huge influx of people now discovering you since you've released this latest string of 4 or 5 videos, man.
Yeah, it's been incredible. It's been an incredible journey, man. As of late, I'm at the peak, the highest point that I've ever been, interestingly enough. So, and it's all because of a message of love and a spiritual change inside of me towards the positive. I started out being very egoic. A very egoic type of rapper. Initially when I first started, I was talking about the money I didn't have, the girls that I never slept with, and a lot of other things, being influenced by that type of hip hop. And as I grew, I became very politically driven. I was very angry political rapper. Some of my influences were Mortal Technique, Chuck D, people like that. And I was always very lyrical, though. I love to write punchlines and, metaphors and analogies and stuff like that. And fast forward to today, man, where I'm just really speaking from my heart, you know, and what comes from the heart reaches the heart, as they say.
Well, right, and it's reaching a lot of people now, and I think people are tired of the fakeness. They're tired of hearing about money and women, and, you know, when somebody comes along and, you know, says something really real, and it creates like emotion, true feeling, people can relate to that now. That's like, wow, that's not fake, man.
Yeah, and I mean, we have to understand too, man, that a lot of artists are people too, you know, and they are subject to conformity like everybody else. You know, they're on a path, they struggle, and it's hard to go against the norm. You know, nowadays it's hard to be vulnerable. It's hard to speak the truth, to be opinionated. But for me, that's all I could do. You know, I was always in the world, but still outside of it. You know, when I grew up. So, and now it's really no different. You know, so it's not courage to me. It's not that I have a special type of will or courage. It's just me being who I am, and that's all I can really do. You know, so I don't think I'm doing anything. I'm just saying what comes to me intuitively now.
It's respectable, though, because I see that a lot in what me and Kristan are doing here at Alternative Media. People who are just trying to get the truth out. They're sick of being lied to. They're sick of being abused, whether it's financial systems, police, state, government, or otherwise. You know, they're tired of always being lied to. So for people to just be themselves regardless of what the collective thinks, you know, that's inspiring for people. They're like, oh my gosh.
Right. That's just it. If you're outside the norm, why do you want to be smart? That's weird. You know, that's not cool. It's not cool to be intellectually informed these days. It's like, why would you want to know about that? And why would you want to think that? And why would you question that? Why do you have to ask so many questions? Why can't you just accept things the way they are? You know, and you know, we should question things, and it's okay to be smart and to find out things for yourself that you find out. You know, maybe you find out some things that you've learned are not true and that you've been taught incorrectly. And I think that through propaganda, and you see the way they propagandize our children in school these days with Common Core and some of these other weird things, man, it makes you wonder, we really need an intellectual revolution. That's what it comes down to.
Absolutely. Yeah, you know, I'm an academic by heart, man, and I wasn't always like this. I grew up and I was very complacent. I was just a regular student until I found something that catalyzed the part of my brain that made me want to learn. But the thing is, in this society, we don't accept or value multiple types of intelligence and multiple types of delivery methods to teach students. Like, we kind of do a one-size-fits-all approach, and that's why a lot of students are getting left behind. You know, I always say, man, there's no bad students, only inflexible teachers. You know, these teachers kind of need to step it up and figure out ways to reach kids and be creative, man. Because I think, you know, I'm lucky enough to find hip hop, to find something that touched my heart and propelled me to end up getting a full scholarship at a university and graduating at the top of my class with an anthropology degree. It was all because of hip hop. You know, it was all because of that one stimulus. But what about the kids that don't have that take the regular system and end up being told that they're average and live that out their entire life, you know? So,
well, and what about like me? I had a 1.8 GPA in high school. I honestly, education wasn't important to me until about 7 years, and since then I've been a sponge. And I'll be honest with you, man. People ask me, they're like, "Man, you're so smart." I'm like, "No, I'm not. I just investigate everything, and I look at crazy stuff so I can have the conversation of what is real and what isn't, you know, because sometimes you find pieces of truth in some craziness that really fits the puzzle and helps explain partially of what's going on in the world. So, you know, you got to look at all ends.
Absolutely.
I think the internet really changed things too. You know, it's made the playing field a lot more fair. If you're not getting educated in school or public education system, you can now go online and learn another language, or you could learn from a college textbook by downloading it from some terrible illegal site like Pirate Bay or something that they're trying to basically outlaw by censoring the internet and preventing people from doing what, say, Aaron Swartz did, which was trying to provide people, you know, credible academic papers so they could just learn for free instead of having to pay to go to some high-end college like MIT to get an education to better the world. Why should people have to pay into a system?
And these prices are ridiculous. You're on the hook for like half of your life on these loans nowadays. When I went to school, it was like $1,200 a semester, and I went to University of Wisconsin-Waukesha, which was, you know, a 2-year University of Wisconsin college, but still nowadays it's almost like 5 or 6 times what I paid, and it's only been like, well, it's been 12 years or 14.
Well, college isn't going down. It's not going down anytime soon.
Yeah, right, no.
It's a debacle, man. It's a debacle. What can we do but move forward? You know, take individual responsibility, look inside of ourselves, and be compassionate. You know, that's it. That's all we can really do, man.
So what kind of led you to being a more conscious individual? Because I'm sure it would have been much easier for you to just, you know, take the route of singing about, you know, money and girls, like you were saying. What was it that really changed your opinion on life?
I just couldn't do it, man. It just didn't feel right. I guess a sense of artistic integrity. You know, I just couldn't. I couldn't put out that message to people, man. And you know, I wanted to open people's minds. I wanted to show people that there's another way and give them information, because information can change a person's life. You know, if somebody hears something. And when I started doing that, the influx of messages that I got were just so heartwarming, man, to get messages saying that, hey, man, you turned my life around with this information. You put me on a path towards academia. You helped me study for this test. I got an A on this test because of your song about the brain. And I'm like, wow, man, it's a beautiful thing, man. And that's better than making somebody shake their head, you know, tap their feet and nod their head to a song. It's just much better.
Just have a good beat, you know. And that's another thing, you know, with the videos you've put out and got all this attention, it's not really about the music. It's all about what you're saying and what it makes people feel and having to face that emotion. When you watch the video, it's emotional. You could feel it. I know I did. I'm sure there's a lot of other people.
You can feel the passion behind what you're putting in, and it's the message. You can actually feel the love you put into it. You know, it's like when you see a wonderful piece of artwork and you're like, man, that must have been a lot of work, and you must really love what you do.
But then you also say, why aren't more people doing that? You're like, why didn't anybody else think of that? Why isn't anybody else doing this? It's kind of weird.
Yeah, they don't do it for the aforementioned reason, man, because of conformity. They don't think that they can make a living off of it. They don't think that people will accept them for doing that. So they just take that route, and they kind of continue to live a life of suffering, man, because a lot of these artists, they have to have internal battles, you know, putting out some of the messages that they do. Like they have to feel a lot of pain, and I just couldn't do it. I don't want to suffer, man. Like I feel like if I can put this out and a few people listen, like that's good enough. If I could change a few hearts and minds in the world, then that's good enough. Like going viral is very cool. Like I'm very interested in reaching the most people possible with a positive message, but at the same time, if a few people listen to me and it provokes a spark inside of them, job well done.
I just couldn't imagine when that guy was interviewing you there in Ferguson that you would ever imagine that video would have brought you so much attention, and then release those other videos right on top of that just to kind of capitalize with you know, the love and the humanity. It's just like you would have to think more people would be finding this to be what people want. I mean, this is what we are wanting. This is what I think people are now turning towards. They want love, they want humanity, but there is an audience. There's still audience for the other fake stuff.
This fear, this tyranny, the cameras on the street corner, the
Kim Kardashian.
The police putting people in jail for having dirty yards. Did you see that? That was in the news today. You know, you had a dirty yard, they were going to put you in jail next to rapists and pedophiles. You know, it's just absolutely chaos out there, and that's not America we want. We had somebody on from Mexico a couple days ago, and he said that when he comes to America, they're worried for his safety because he's going to America. He said there, if you walk out of a bar with a brew, you don't get hammered by police. You can get in your car, go as fast as you want. You can smoke in a bar. You know, it's just crazy. It's none more free than America, you know? So, I don't know.
No,
Yeah.
But I find the whole thing interesting with Ferguson, man. I really hope something happens there where they're able to, stabilize it, and they're not going to be able to until the people change and the police change. The whole system needs to change, and it's a lot of work, man. And when people see this big mammoth giant, a lot of people get scared, man. It's intimidating.
Well, you see them black uniforms and the LRADs or whatever they're called.
MRAPs, Bearcats,
right. I mean, that
Boxers.
stuff, that's unveiling right before our eyes now. This isn't a joke anymore. It's not a conspiracy. They're taking this out and using it on media and innocent people. That's not acceptable to me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's a tragedy. It's a tragedy, man. And things need to change. At the end of the day, though, these are people. Everybody doing these things are people with hearts. And it's a quote from Abraham Maslow. He says, if you want to change a person, you have to change that individual's awareness of themselves. A lot of people just don't know who they are. They're living in an external world. Their mind is apart from their bodies, and we all need to kind of bring it back and be calm and think for ourselves and move and operate with our hearts, through our hearts. And the world would just be a much better place, man. Because police are just people with costumes on. They're humans behind that. So they should change. We should change. Every single person listening into this interview, has to look inward, because nobody is perfect. If you have anger inside of yourself, how do you expect to solve the problems of anger in the world? Only until you love and accept yourself can you ever love and accept the world. So it's easy.
No, absolutely. And you make a good point. They are individuals, but they seem to be protected. It's like a protected class. Here in Milwaukee, an individual was murdered by police. Now that officer was fired, but why isn't he held accountable legally? He's just fired from his. So if I murdered someone, I would be held accountable in a court system, right?
We didn't even have to murder someone. Someone like Mike and I could just say we'd want to murder someone, and they'd be up our ass.
It would be a
Just
problem,
being honest,
right?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. It's systemized injustice, man. But again, man, once you really change the individual, there's no possible way that a person who knows who they are can ever exploit or ever become violent to another person. Everybody, I don't care if you're a Christian, if you're a Muslim, if you're a Buddhist. All of these religions talk about love and forgiveness and helping one another, and the everything is a creation of God, right? Say God, God, the universe, whatever you want to call it. And if everything is a creation of God, then how can you ever hate somebody else, no matter what race they are? If they're a manifestation of God themselves, how can you hate? How can you cause violence to them? So a lot of people understand religion in their minds and not their hearts. You can have a direct experience with God, I think. But that's another story, man.
Well, that's interesting.
Well, if God wanted us all to be the same way, he would have created us all the same way, would he have not? I mean, that's what it comes down to. And we're all created differently. We're all different pieces of artwork.
And we don't have to agree on everything. I don't know what made people think that everybody had to be unified and standardized to one viewpoint.
We must agree. You must agree now.
That's completely inaccurate. And what you were touching on with the changing inward in yourself, it makes me think, would that change government? Would government even exist if people started to change and self-govern almost themselves? Say if I govern myself and I don't drunk drive and I don't steal and murder, what's the necessity of government anymore?
Absolutely. Wow. That is a revolution right there. If everybody governed themselves. Because, I mean, what does a person is drinking excessively because they feel like they need something. They don't have everything with them, so they need something to feel better about themselves. And if you actually know yourself, you love yourself, you don't need anything, any type of external help. You're already one within yourself. You never, you just become good. You're not trying to be good. You're not trying to follow laws anymore. You just are this on a cellular level. You just resonate, goodness. So, yeah, man, that's a wonderful idea, man. Individual government.
Self-accountability. Like I said, it'd be nice to be able to grab a brewski and walk down the road with the cop seeing like you have an open container in public. You know, and I'm just saying, you know,
It seems
I want a dirty
utopian.
yard. Let me have a dirty yard.
It
I'll
seems
clean it when I wanna.
utopian, like it could never happen. But I think if we took this line of thinking, which Prince is talking about, we can, you know, make something like that happen, because it takes it to an individual level. If I'm accountable for my own actions, there shouldn't be any problems. But, you know, at the end of the day, people make mistakes. You know, emotions are crazy things, and people are sometimes unstable. But I mean, there are people that have mental disorders, and you know, government may be necessary for some of those things. And I'm not a huge government fan. I don't know how you would handle that.
Clean your yard up and put you in jail if there wasn't a government. I mean, or police, or we talk about this all the time. Less than 2% of crimes are caught in the act of committing them. So why don't the police stay home like the firefighters? You don't see fire trucks looking around to put out fires, and the cops would do more use coming to help people who need the help than going around
not killing
like,
them.
Police when we need them.
They don't need to kill them.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's pretty interesting, and I know it's a revolutionary idea out there, and they're like, well, people might drunk and drive. Well, if they didn't hit anyone and they made a home fine, what was the crime committed? You know, they weren't speeding, they're going to speed limit. So what if they had low air in their back tire? You don't pull people low. I don't want to get, I'm going to get passionate about this here. So anyways, but, you know, nonetheless, yeah, you see this overwhelming police state, this growing of this prison industrial complex. Like in Wisconsin, we have mandates, 80% incarceration mandate. If the prisons are full, they're going to shut them down. So it puts pressure on the judges to put good people, maybe somebody who doesn't deserve jail time, a little bit of jail time or a lot of jail time, because, you know, these things become legal sweatshops.
It's about
you know,
money,
start making
right?
T-shirts and making gadgets and selling them out of the prison. I mean, look at Justin Timberlake. He owns a bunch of private prisons, and I don't want to throw him out of there, but I'm just saying.
I didn't know that. Wow.
It's a good investment, you know. It's a good turnaround. You invest in the prison industrial complex, you get a nice check at the end of the month, apparently.
And the lobbyists love you, and you know, all the elites out there.
You get good airtime. Have you had trouble getting any airtime, or have people been really receptive and kind of willing to get you on and talk with you and play your stuff?
Yeah, man. A lot of people have come, you know, reached out to me. They love it, man. But I don't know. I don't care about that stuff, man. I just care about reaching the people. You know.
Well, then that's what you're doing. You're talking to students now. You have Make Smart Cool. Why don't you tell us like what's going on with some of that stuff?
Yeah, man. Make Smart Cool is an organization that I founded. I'm the CEO of. SMART is an acronym for Sophisticating Millions and Revolutionizing Thought. And what we want to do is we just want to popularize the notion of intelligence. We want to show people that intelligence is diverse, intelligence is good, and intelligence is unique. You know, and we want to popularize creativity, collaboration, and all of these things. So I go to, you know, different universities and schools to lecture. We have clothing that is very socially conscious that we put out there, and it's a beautiful thing, man. We're actually in the process of relaunching the company right now, but it's something that I'm very passionate about, and it's an idea that came out of me looking at the world today, how intelligence often takes a back seat to things like materialism, you know, popularity and things like that. So.
Well, and it can still be popular. That's a crucial thing that you've proven, that intellect can still be popular. You can still be cool, you know, in quotes, and, you know, talk about relevant things and make people more educated. You know, if they still want to participate in government, you know, educate yourself on what these people and politicians are really doing. What are they really doing with your tax money? Who are they really caring about? Who are they funding? What are they doing for your local community, if anything? You know, these are common things I don't even think average people think about these days. I mean, and that's why I think it's a good idea for what you're doing, going in and reaching young college students, because, you know, there's a lot of guys like me and Kristan talking about conspiracies and 9/11 and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, that's got to be controversial. Look at Immortal Technique. He took a stance on 9/11. I mean, I think 9/11's a big deal because
fiasco.
I think that's the main point to unravel a lot of the bad things that have happened the last 13 years. I mean, it's been since 9/11 that they justified the police state, the NSA spying,
the wars,
you know, sustainable development, smart growth. It all ties in. The UN Agenda 21, grids, checkpoints, you know, unconstitutional weapons, MRAPs, Bearcats, Boxsters, grenade launchers, M16s.
And even today, look at ISIS.
Drones,
I mean, we're still worried about terrorists that, you know, we don't even know if this is real. I saw an article earlier today that ISIS isn't even a threat in anywhere else in the world. People are saying that it's like not even, it's fabricated, you know, it's not even real. Even Jeff Berwick said in Mexico, like, people are like, you think, you know, ISIS is going to come to Mexico? They're like cleaning their machetes. Like, no, they're not coming here. Don't worry. But that's really not, you know, it's all fear propaganda. That's really what that's all that it is.
Yeah, it's a lot of fear mongering out there, man. It's a lot of, you know, David Icke, you know, one of my favorite quotes from him is, the divisions are there to divide us. You know, we're constantly divided. In our language, it's constantly division. You're over here and I'm over here. You know, and you know, my whole message is just coming together, man, and seeing everything is one. You know, I don't. The entire system is such a distraction. You know, honestly.
Well, getting people to focus is hard. I mean, you got the TV, which is the biggest hypnotist in the room, right? What's a bigger hypnotist than the TV?
Yeah, programming, right? You know, it's television, man, and it's hard too, you know, because the system. I think Chomsky, you know, he said that's the way the system is structured, man. You get home from a hard day's work, you don't have the time to carry out research projects on, you know, the government and this and that. So you just watch the news and you believe it, you know, just because, I mean, you don't have time to actually do these things. So it's very difficult for somebody to step outside of the box, you know, and wake up per se. And there are different, one thing I want to say, there are different levels to waking up too, man. You know, there's so many levels. You wake up to politics, and then eventually, hopefully, we wake up to ourselves, man, and to see that this world is is always changing, and we can never control it, you know, and to sit with the universal laws and understandings, man, and just be one. The final waking up is just, I think, when you just become love, you know, you just become an entity of love and compassion, because you understand that the people who do injustice in this world, they have internal problems. They're broken inside, you know, so all you can do is just be compassionate to them. I mean, these people aren't happy. I mean, when I get angry, it's just, and I lash out violently, I mean, it's just an expression of grief. You know, so these cops, you know, they're just expressing grief. They're expressing their own negative predispositions. And all we can do is really be compassionate. We can work to change the laws. And first, we all have to work to change ourselves.
I mean, that really is the key point. I mean, what else can you really do other than change yourself? I can't control what you do. I can't control what Kristan does. You can only control your own mind and your own actions and be accountable for
And you got to make a decision for yourself. You have to realize that at some point, you have to make a decision of what's important to you. And some people have family out there and they have a lot of things that are really important. And undoubtedly so, those things are important. But if your family is very important to you, then it's your job to be informed to protect that family. And to really be there to protect them in situations such as, you know, now they have this, what was it, the Ebola crisis, which I don't even know exists. I don't even know if it's real, you know.
Another fear campaign, really, that's in my opinion, you know. I'm not saying it's not real. I know a lot of people take that the wrong way.
Amping it up. I mean, if there was really an Ebola outbreak, do you think our government would actually tell us?
Well, they're telling people to get flu shots now. And remember, I told you about this a few weeks ago, that I found those FEMA documents about the influenza training drill that's been 2 years in the works, and how they're just kind of, you know, potentially swapping influenza with Ebola as a fear campaign to get all these states and federal agencies on the same page for a bio attack, allegedly. But it's really all about control. You see how they implement martial law in Connecticut, and now they want to restrict travel and all these. This is really just a control mechanism. And, you know, we're talking about changing ourselves, but, you know, at the same time, government is really, you know, putting those shackles on us, man.
It's out of control.
Yeah. Government, man. You know, it's like, I think that, but the thing, it all goes back to, you know, government, people who control the government are human beings too. You know, they, you know, you change people on an individual level, government will change. But yeah, it's a systemic, you know, problem, man. I think we're moving forward. You know, I hope we're moving forward. Things seem like they fluctuate, you know. But you know, all I'm doing, and I know what you guys are doing, man, is spreading the truth. You know, that you believe, and I'm doing the same thing. And that's all we can really do. I feel like everybody, murderers, rapists. You know, drug deal. Everybody is acting to make themselves happy. You know, that's the thing. Everybody's doing things to make themselves happy. Our ideas about happiness are just flawed. You know, these corporate executives that are doing what they think will make them happy, which is exploiting people, but it doesn't make them happy at the end of the day. It just creates more suffering. So our ideas about happiness are standing in the way of us achieving true happiness. You know, and I don't know, we just have to change our hearts.
Well, and it seems too like a lot of these corporations are in it for the money, but then when you talk to some of the richest men in the world and they ask them, you know, does money buy happiness? They always are like, no, maybe superficial happiness and it may make your life easier temporarily, you know, but it's never going to be enough because it's not real.
Well, and they're always looking at everything at a business aspect. A woman, let's say if you're a rich guy, she devaluates over the years. You can get another good-looking young one, and that's the way a lot of these people think. Not saying not all of them do, but it's true. Money doesn't buy happiness. I mean, with all the money in the world and you're sick and dying, is that going to buy you happiness, you know?
Well, humans shouldn't be traded like cars. I mean, that's a skewed viewpoint in my opinion. You know what I mean? You should treat humans, as individuals, like Prince mentioned, as a person with a heart. Even the police officers. We do a lot of talking about the police, especially me specifically. And I've been accused of police bashing. But, you know, I've been angry, Prince, man. I've been angry for some of these things that I've seen. And, you know, I try to get my point across the best way I can without seeming too much of a nutcase, just like a hater of control, you know, because sometimes that can be like a mental problem where people just don't want to be controlled, and that's not the case. There's a lot of stuff that's a little fishy. There's a little fishy stuff going on out there.
Yeah, how can you not be angry? You know, when you are conditioned in this paradigm, how can you not be angry when you see injustice happen? You know, it's the reaction is most, you know, clear to your heart. You have to be angry. You know, if you're not angry, you're desensitized, which is a very bad place to be in. You know, desensitized from injustice, and nobody wants to be in that place. So, but to reach out and approach things compassionately too is I think the most effective way. You know, if we keep watering the weeds, as they say. You know, we keep focusing on the negative, and the negative things are going to continue to happen. You know, if we focus on the flowers, water the flowers, they're going to grow. We water the weeds, they'll grow. So, you know, we have to kind of focus. And nobody, one thing that we have to understand, man, nobody has the answers. Nobody has the answer. But like you were saying, man, we don't have to agree. You know, we don't have to agree. We just have to come together and love and move forward from that. You know, as long as the relationship guide quote is like, we can argue, but as long as we walk away holding hands, everything is okay.
Well, right, and you know, all I have to do is go outside on a nice night and look up and realize that mostly everyone I know doesn't know what they're talking about. I just like look up in the sky and I'm just like, yeah, I think we've been lied to, man. I just have a strange feeling, you know. It's like, isn't even your name kind of strived from like some ancient Sumerian text or something like that?
Yeah, I'm big into ancient Babylonian mystery religion, so.
It is, man. Growing up, I was actually, the reason I majored in anthropology was kind of because of the Sumerian civilization. I was intrigued by this culture right out of the Stone Age, 6,000 years ago. They created the wheel, the cuneiform script, the first written language, and Prince E in their mythology or history, whatever side you want to be on. He was their creator god and kind of freed man out of bondage through knowledge and wisdom. And me, I kind of took on the name because through my music, I want to free people or open their minds through knowledge and wisdom. So yeah, the name, and not a lot of people realize, you know, what the name has actual meaning to it. They just say Prince, hey, Prince E. But they don't really understand, you know, what it actually means, comes from. So.
Well, we have a lot of ancient history people on the show. A lot of times we have some people from the History Channel, Ancient Aliens. You know, we get all the aspects. So we talk a lot about this stuff, and you know, I find it interesting that you have interest in ancient Sumerian lifestyle. You know, obviously
it's hidden history. I mean, this is not taught, you know, in everyday textbooks anymore.
The Great Deluge, you know, and then the long lives of the kings beforehand and thereafter. They have a list of all the kings, and they line up with a lot of other history: Babylonian history, Egyptian history. You know, you can name it. Greek history. It's weird how the timeline of the Sumerian, you know, they have the list of all the life spans of all their kings. It all lines up similarly to a lot of history. I'm not saying it's the same. I'm just saying it's something that makes you go, you got to connect the dots, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, you don't think that there's any extraterrestrial connection there, do you?
Oh man, that is something that I definitely believe. That's when you look at civilization, and I hate using the word primitive civilization, because that word has it's so unfair. But you look at an older civilization that's using stone tools and clay, living in clay huts and things like this, and you get some super technological craft to come down and give them knowledge and information. I mean, 9 times out of 10, they're going to worship them as gods. So, yeah, I think that our world potentially was influenced by extraterrestrials. The judgment is still out on that one, but I think I'm very interested in extraterrestrials. I'm very interested in like the Star Child skulls and the
Baraka skulls.
Yeah,
the elongated, right.
The U parts, the outer place artifacts that just pop up in like their timelines.
Airplanes and weird, bizarre things,
Man, yeah. I was and this is kind of what sparked me even going the intellectual route, because I was just so fascinated by this stuff. It was so interesting and intriguing for me to figure this stuff out.
How about electricity? We know about, you've heard about the Babylon battery, right?
Well, what about the light bulbs and the pyramids? I mean, yeah right.
Yeah. It's a lot of mysteries, man, out there.
It sounds ridiculous.
Do they have electricity? If they had batteries, they must have had electricity.
What we have to say though is that history is controlled by those in power. So if they don't want us to know certain things about our past, it's easy for the controllers to make those things irrelevant. For instance, 9/11. I don't personally agree with the official story. I don't know what your take is on it, but I don't personally feel that what we were told is the truth on 9/11. So, potentially that story could have been skewed in history, and our ancestors and our families, our progeny, are going to believe what they were told. But I'm here now saying I don't necessarily even think that that's what happened. And you could say that with a lot of things. JFK, Martin Luther King. I mean, there's tons of them that you could just be like, I don't believe what I was told, and that is gospel now.
Oklahoma City bomb.
Right.
Timothy McVeigh. Like, he had 50 cents between him and his buddy, and you're telling me Bin Laden, who's rich as hell, is like, yeah, these are my guys, homies, let's go blow some shit up. They didn't have a nickel between them. Like, they could find Bin Laden when the CIA and the NSA spent unlimited resources and money, and they couldn't find Bin Laden, but Timothy McVeigh could. I just don't get it. It just doesn't add up to me. Don't call me conspiracy theorist. I'm just saying that's logic,
Yeah, a lot of things in history, they don't add up, man. This is kind of what kind of put me in limbo with a lot of these things, because how can we ever really know? How can we can speculate, we can look at the evidence. How can we really be 100% absolutely sure about a lot of things? But yeah, what you're saying, man, 9/11, I mean, the world, our governments in general have a lot of precedents to lying to their civilians, man. So,
they even go as far as destroying historical artifacts. Is happening right now in Syria and Iraq. They're destroying ancient statues.
It's almost like it's planned on purpose, because they're showing pictures of them destroying history.
And maybe that's human nature. I mean,
yeah, I don't know.
I really don't know.
History's been destroyed before in the past, but you would think at a nation that's really into preserving the truth in history, and, well, allegedly, that would be
for a profit, of course.
For profit, I mean, it's just weird. And then you get only these secret societies, these bizarre societies like the Templar and the Masons and the Illuminati, the Bavarian 1776, Rothschild-funded agency that spawned the Communist Party. I mean, come on. It's all just bizarre. But they can have all the secrets, but don't let people like me and you have the ability to teach our kids the real history.
What about that? Do you buy into any of that? And I'm not talking about Jay-Z. I'm talking about real money, real secret societies, that kind of stuff. Is that real to you?
Oh man, there's documented proof. that is real, you know. And it's listening to the Immortal Techniques and a lot of these rappers that embedded these messages in their music. It led me on that quest, man. So I definitely have done a lot of research that goes, man, 7-8 years back, on the Illuminati, on, you know, the Freemasons. I was just focused on that, man. I was so just enthralled by all of that stuff, man. And
well, their thirst for knowledge.
You don't even know it exists until you start looking around. I didn't even know there was a thing like a lodge until I started looking through it. I'd be like, that's a lodge. That thing's huge. I'd never seen that before. And I'll be driving. I'll be like, there's another lodge. How
well,
did
you
I
start
ever miss
learning
these
about,
before?
you know, what they do, and, you know, that they're about learning, and you start to, you know, wonder, like, what kind of secrets are they protecting? What kind of knowledge is being passed on that's not given to everyday individuals? And that's what kind of ties back to that hidden history we were just talking about. You know, what if those are some of the hidden things that are only passed on in organizations such as those? I'm not saying they do or they don't, but I'm sure that there are some that do.
Well, they sure have an invested interest in them, that's for sure. I mean, you can even look at things like Scott Walter's America on Earth, where they moved giant Freemason stones. He had on an episode before, and he went back, it was gone. You know, it was they took it, and it had the
cornerstone,
mark,
right?
Knights Templar mark. It had the hooked X. You know,
Right.
it just disappears. You know, and who moves like a 20-ton boulder and no one sees it? You know, just stolen out of the coast. You know, I don't know.
Crazy.
You know, it's interesting to me that you put that amount of time in it. You know, I think a lot of the listeners that listen to this show have been down, we call it the rabbit hole. I'm sure you've heard that expression, you know, but I think the difference is you got to pull yourself. You go all the way deep. And some people keep going all the way to the bottom if there is a bottom. But I think the difference is you got to pull yourself back out once you got enough knowledge. Once you know, you learn what you need to learn about the control, and then you come out and you change. And you change yourself, and that changes the world.
Absolutely. I couldn't put it better myself. I think that, and also I believe that some people, there's a lot of far-fetched ideas out there too, man. A lot of people with fertile imaginations, and we so badly want explanations about the world that we create them. You know, we want to believe stuff. We believe stuff because we want to believe.
Well, just look at Hollywood.
Yeah. You know, so you definitely, you know, and all the listeners, you definitely don't want to get trapped into that cycle and believe in something because you want it to be true. You should always be objective and look at the evidence for what it is, because there are conspiracies out there, and sometimes it's not a conspiracy. You know, sometimes things just happen.
Well, and you have to have evidence to support a theory, and a lot of people just they fill in their own blanks and have their own ideas of what happened, and all of a sudden you got people talking about Bigfoots coming off of UFOs.
What about the Bilderberg group?
UFOlogy is what I call it.
The Bilderberg group, that was a conspiracy for a long time, and now, you know, they had protesters standing outside and catching Bill Gates and Henry Kissinger outside, and it's like, oh, don't worry, they're just meeting. They're not discussing
It didn't
policy.
exist before, but now that they are,
It's
you know,
just a
you're
party.
conspiracy
Everything's
theorists for not
good.
accepting it, you know.
Right. They always criticize us.
Council of Foreign Relations, that's another one. That didn't exist, right? But it's been around since World War I, and just recently, I guess there is a CFR, right? So
People should be allowed to ask questions, and it's really frowned upon in this country, and I think a lot of the world. You know, you should be allowed to ask questions. No question should be a dumb question. People should be allowed to have that thirst for knowledge, which I think is a human nature. People want to know where they came from. People want to know about everything. So we should make it, you know, more available. Education needs to be more available for people. We have a great thing like the internet. I mean, you know, artists such as yourself, artists, whether it's graphic designers, radio hosts, everybody, if they change, the world would change. If you started being more positive, if you started doing what we're doing and, you know, talking and having real conversations with people, I promise your life will start to change. People will start opening up to you and being more friendly, and everything starts looking up. That negativity
then you see the
goes
chemtrails when
away.
you look up,
Well, right. You still see negativity like the police and stuff, but you can always look to your fellow humans and humanity and be like, you know what, we're in this together, and we don't even know where the hell we're at. We're on a rock floating through space, like Joe Rogan says.
Yeah, Absolutely, man. Absolutely. The pale blue dot.
Right. It's so true. I mean, until somebody figures out it hits a wall like the Truman Show, I'm not sold.
Reminds me of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where they just talk about it's just a little blip and that the Earth is going to be destroyed to make an intergalactical highway. I don't know. I'm just talking.
It may make sense. What if we're just inside of like a dog's brain and this is really just a dream that I'm having?
We're inside the little Christmas tree ornament, the little snow globe.
Oh, you're not allowed to say Christmas! I'm gonna wag my finger.
Isn't that how alternative dimensions work, Mike? No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, that's a whole separate thing.
That's another great conversation.
Prince, we literally only have like 2 minutes left with you, man. So I want to make sure any projects you're working on, any appearances, websites, Twitters, all that stuff, you can let people know what you're gonna be up to, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Just follow me, Prince EA, Facebook.com/Prince EA Hip Hop. Just Google me, YouTube me. It's easy, man. I just want to create creative content that can change the hearts of people, man. I'm against, the abuse of society, man, and abuse of our hearts. And I just want to create something positive, man. So I'm going to continue to create spoken word. My next project is likely going to be on religion, so look out for that one. And that's it, man.
We expecting that one soon? Is it going to be like another awesome video?
Babylonian mystery religion plug in there for me.
I'm gonna throw that in there, man.
Hey, all the Masons will like it too, since that's really what Freemasonry is. It's a plethora of a bunch of different religions.
Well, yeah, and they even, make you even read a religious text. You have to abide to one of those books, and, that's a whole separate conversation, Prince. We appreciate you even coming on tonight. Maybe if you want to come back and hang out with us sometime, it would be our pleasure. If you're ever in the Milwaukee area, let us know, man. We'll hang out, shoot a video, whatever, yeah?
There's a Dalai Lama quote, man. Just real quick, man, I'll give it to you guys. It says, each one of us is a visitor to this planet, a guest who has a finite time to stay. What greater folly could there be than to live this short time lonely, unhappy, and in conflict with our fellow visitors? Far better to live a meaningful life enriched by a sense of connection and service towards others, man.
That's a
true,
good way
man.
to wrap this up, man. I mean, well said.
As volunteerists, we can't agree more. I know that. So
Absolutely.
Sounds good.
Thank you guys for having me, man.
We'll be in touch,
thanks
man.
for coming on, man. It was great. We're gonna have to have you again. We're gonna have to talk. I'm gonna have to message you about some ancient history because I really
we get into all that stuff.
Yeah,
we definitely wanted to get the background, but we'll talk other
truth
stuff.
Truth in history is as important as truth is today in the news, because when you can learn back in history what really happened, allows you to see what's coming in the future. So it's really interesting. I think it's very important, and I'm a big advocate for finding the truth in history. So
For sure.
All right, Prince EA, we'll take it easy, man. You have a good night. We'll be in touch.
All right, take care, man.
There goes Prince. Just awesome talk, man. Definitely interesting there at the end. I got a sense that, he may have had some connection to, an outside source, like a extraterrestrial belief. I've talked about it many times.
Maybe he knows reptilians. Maybe.
No, I just meant like I felt that he was open to something like that. You know what I mean? And I think that more people should be. A lot of people discount that, whether it's religious or otherwise.
You got to have the conversation. We talk about this all the time. Ridicule without investigation is the largest form of ignorance. And I've always believed this, and it's very important to investigate things because, you got to be able to have both sides of the story to make a proper decision. But don't get me wrong, there's some things that you can say, you don't want to jump off the cliff to see what happens either, So it definitely.
Some people do though. Some people do have to jump off the cliff to learn the hard way. Apparently, though.
Well, that's what they make the suicide pill for, right?
Apparently, and we all learn the hard way. I know I have. I've made mistakes that I knew could have been prevented, and I'm sure a lot of the listeners, they feel the same. Nobody's perfect, but what we can do, and we talk about this a lot, is self-governance, man. I think bringing that idea up with him, he even said it was a revolutionary idea to him, and I don't think people honestly think about governing themselves, and I've brought it up countless times.
What's wrong with self-accountability? That's how I'm learning right now with the internet. I'm sitting myself down, I'm educating myself, I'm picking it up when I want, and I find myself, what I do when I fall asleep? I listen to something educational, and I follow up with it in the morning, and see what I remembered, things like that. But Mike, before we go here, I have to say that we have to send our thoughts and prayers out to Popeye right now. He's going through a tough time. So I don't know if you saw that. You know, he has to. What did he say? He has to put one of his most loved friends, or have to make a choice of whether or not to pull a plug on one of his most loved friends. So it's very interesting. So send your prayers and thoughts out to Popeye.
It's actually his wife.
I don't even know if it's him. So
yeah, it's his wife, and I know she had an asthma attack, and you know that's not cool. But Popeye's a good friend. Yeah, and well, now she is not doing well. So
that's what I saw. I was reading. It
was a really bad asthma attack. So yeah, if you guys go over to Popeye's page, send him some love because he'll need it. He's having a hard time now, and he's got a radio show and all kinds of stuff that. You know, family takes precedent over that. If I would never expect, you know, Kristan or myself, if something like that were to happen, you know, that's just real life, man.
All right, so I don't know what's going on, but according to this, somebody's on life support.
Yeah, that's his wife.
That's his wife. Yeah.
So that's not a great thing, you know. It shows you that you know you shouldn't take for granted every day. You know, a lot of people take life for granted, and you know there's a lot you can do. Just ask Prince EA. You know, look what me and Kristan have done here. As little as it seems, you know, a lot of people discount what me and Kristan have done, but you know, we're seeing the positivity, we're seeing the growth. So
we're seeing the support from you guys, and we're seeing that the message is getting out there, and you guys are supporting us because we're trying to do the right thing. And that's the biggest thing. You guys support people who do the right thing. You guys go out there and try to do the right thing yourself. And when you make mistakes, admit to it. You know, forgiveness is a big thing. You know,
and it's not wrong if you admit you're wrong. That's credible. That's like something that's respectable.
Learning, yeah.
People earn respect
takes a lot of
for
pride
things.
to do that.
Right, exactly.
So I want to send all our thoughts and prayers out there to Popeye. I want to thank all our listeners, the guys in TuneIn.
Got to thank Prince EA for even coming on and dealing with us, man. What a cool guy that guy was, man.
I can't believe how in touch he is with everything that we cover and the things we go over.
It makes sense though, doesn't it? I mean, that's the new age, man. As much as people are scared to say new age because of the connotations.
The mystery religion,
right?
Yeah,
it's the new age, the new way of thinking. People are moving beyond this paradigm that we've been in for so long. And you know, we could probably sit here and do a whole nother hour on that, but it's a Friday night, and I know we're ready to get out of here, man. We've had a long week. We need our breaks when we can get them. Carlos Miller's going to be on Monday from Photography is Not a Crime. We have a full week, all kinds of guests. We'll get into those on Monday. Don't forget about the Encore, FPRN Radio, FPRNradio.com, 12 a.m. Central, 1 a.m. Eastern. Don't forget about Corey Washington. He's live at 10 p.m. The Average Liberator, wideawakeamerica.com/live at 10 p.m. You guys need to go out over and hang out with him at 10. Anything else, Kristan, before out of here for the weekend?
Yeah, guys, I have to let you know, since this is the weekend, real quick, it's your last chance to get inaugural Rundown Live merch at the Rundown Live Merchquake 2014, top right-hand corner of the rundownlive.com. Be a part of something special, support Mike and I, and we're going to just put out awesome stuff for you guys to get to spread the message of liberty. Maybe you'll meet somebody like-minded. You'll be like, oh, is there a Rundown Live shirt? Maybe you'll pick up a hot chick. I don't know.
You'll get a Liberty Date!
Support us! Get out there! Check out the rundownlive.com. Peace.
Sounds good, guys. We'll be back on Monday. Carlos Miller, special thanks to Prince EA for coming on. We love you guys in the chat. We're out of here.
Send us your show tips. Show
tips
tips. RundownLive.com.
Follow us on Twitter at Rundown Live, at Big P Zone, at Kristan T. Harris. We're out of here.
The Rundown, Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Check out the Rundown Live.
You know who's awesome? The chat room.